kinds of one thing. Number one, there's the engineering feedback, right?
Okay.
I'm going to deliver this change today to find out if it breaks it. And then there's the business feedback. I'm going to deliver the smallest slice of this next feature to find out if it's valuable and deliver that and get feedback. But
Figure out if it's safe to merge and whether it's safe to continue with these requirements.
Yeah.
That's all.
Just because it passes all the tests doesn't mean that it doesn't break something in production once it finally gets to a production environment. I try to have a high level of confidence, but we're never 100% sure.
Yeah.
And so we want to get feedback as rapidly as possible on the engineering thing. People tell me there's no value in delivering anything until it's feature complete. No. I know it's stable. I want to make sure we're on the right track. I don't want to invest too much money in this idea. I don't want to assume my idea is correct. I want to assume my idea is incorrect. It's a scientific experiment. I'm trying to invalidate the hypothesis. And we should be ecstatic when it's successful and just accept when it's not. Mm-hmm. And then how do we change course to make it to chase the value instead of just assuming value?
I would like to add something to the term of confidence. I think confidence doesn't mean that you are 100%, as you said, 100% safe to deploy. It's about to be confident that you can handle a situation even if something happened, but you expect feedback. So what you definitely get is feedback. And if the feedback is a negative, you can react quickly on that. So this is confidence. It's not about, I'm 100% sure that nothing will happen. I think this is a big misconception.
No, I agree. And people focus on the wrong thing. I want to make sure that everything is perfect before we deliver. That's the wrong thing.
Hello. There we go. Let's have a little bit of background music. It's good to see you all. Hey. We're just waiting for Adrian to come. Adrian is making a coffee. It's quite late for a coffee, so Adrian has probably had a very long day. I just finished my coffee, and maybe Adrian has his coffee as well. I am seeing that I'm lagging, so let's...
Maybe, but only maybe.
Only maybe.
Actually,
am I robot?
I have a lot of streaming problems with StreamYards in the last time.
Yeah, I saw it on my Dave Farley video. My camera was like super choppy. Is it choppy right now?
You mean blurry or choppy?
Choppy, like is it tick, 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 tick? Is it like...
Not anymore. But I remember this was the case last time when we recorded. Yeah. So you were basically like lagging. I would.
Yeah, I was lagging. My audio and video desynced, and I was just having this constant back and forth. I don't know what's causing it. Last time I know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I can see me lagging, so it is a problem.
Maybe it's a computer problem. I think you need a new one.
I already checked for a new one, but I'm waiting for stock, essentially. Waiting for it to be in stock. No, I'm getting an M2 Studio. Are there M4 Studios? Yeah, I'm getting one of those.
Cheap? Wanna have?
What's the configuration on it?
Let's talk about it. It's the standard M2.
No, I got a beefed up. I just went in. I said I have a 5K budget. I want to buy something that lasts like 5 to 10 years.
This is a spare machine. I will go for MacBook Pro M4 this time with more RAM than I had in this current one.
Yeah, like I want to beef up on the things that are very difficult to augment. So RAM, graphics card, and
but if you when you're actually exporting 2 or 3 4K videos, have 2 apps running on Docker, 3 IDEs, and 2 browsers, then you need to have a little bit more RAM. I just figured out for myself.
Yeah. I think I think I closed something. It seems to be much better now. So I think it was Zoom. I just came up. Yeah, you know what? I just had a coaching call. I think Zoom was converting the recording. I think it was taxing my graphics card. Anyway, production issues aside, we had a short break because I was traveling. I was having a speaking tour in 2 different conferences. Adrian, you're super busy with the SaaS company. You are also speaking at a podcast tomorrow. Did I see that correctly?
Yeah. Wait a second. I just announced that we are speaking. I just see that LinkedIn doesn't announce because we don't have an event.
We don't have an event. Yeah. So there is no. I reposted as well. I went live without an event because I created a continuous studio. Because today is a little bit of a special episode, just so we can plan things. So for our viewers, to contextualize this episode, we're setting up a plan of what to stream on, what to talk on, which guests to bring on. So we need to have a planning session anyway. So we figured we might as well have it in public with you guys, so that we don't make a plan and then have an episode about discussing the plan, or or writing newsletter content about what the plan is. We could just record having the plan. We do have a Notion content board. Let me close the window.
Are they hunting you again?
There. I don't expect this to take more than an hour. So the point was, we're planning today so that you guys can check some expectations, and then we can transcribe this video and write down what we actually discussed.
Have you set up local recordings? Oh, never mind.
Yes, I've set up local recordings, but I've got off of the plan for 4K local recordings because my machine can't handle it right now.
I just realized last week that I'm still on the plan for 4K. I'm paying it all the time, but not using it.
And StreamYard just doubled their monthly.
Yeah,
they just doubled how much it costs, and we would have to not only double it but also go onto the double package.
And someone told me still no European servers or something like that. I'm not sure if that is right, but it would explain the bad. It would explain the bad connections sometimes.
Are we streaming to the US?
I don't know. Maybe we can
Is it
figure
streamer
out,
on AWS?
Yeah, but if it's AWS, then it should be.
It should be, right?
European friendly.
But I'm speculating. Anyway, so I was on a speaking tour. I met a few people there. I met Sander. So I met Sander. I met a lot of my Romanian clients. I was in Bucharest for
This is a good chance to show images, right? If you share them.
Yes, but I will do that later. There will be an episode for How to Web, for How to Web, once the recording is live, because we had a full production crew. Everything is recorded. I would like to talk about that specifically when there's a recording, and I have some clips, and I will show the clips. I have a picture, but actually I do have a picture of Sander and myself. Let me airdrop it real quick, and we can get that on.
But nothing romantic or something like that.
No, we made a little selfie with the buddies. Wait, where's a funny picture? Yeah, there we go.
Actually, we have a wrong banner in the background, isn't it? People think we're talking about engineering leadership.
Well, we will, but not yet. It was the only campfire thumbnail that I have. Okay, picture is up. Can I show pictures here? Do I need to share screen?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. To be
No,
honest,
I can share slides. Okay, let me do that real quick. Which one is it? Okay, so let's just one window and this one. Okay. So this is us at the conference with Sander and Vladi, one of my Romanian
I
clients.
just wanted to say, he's doing the podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, he also started streaming. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just gonna stop that real quick because I see that something's not. My computer is really acting up. That was probably a very high quality screen share because it zoomed in on on full 4K.
Time for a new computer, though.
Yeah, it is time for a new computer. So I met Sander, I met my Romanian clients, I met Vladi. I met Chris Heilman. Chris used to work for Microsoft and Yahoo, and now he's the developer relations lead for We Are Developers, the biggest conference in Europe, 15,000 attendees usually. So I met Chris. We created a nice group: Sander, myself, Chris, and Vladi, and Tony. I also saw a speech by April Dunford. We had a few people from Netflix, Google, Microsoft, Adobe. Adobe is very strong in Romania. Had a few conversations, and I got there was this thing that this was a investor-oriented talk, and I was one of the technical speakers. So I was more on the side of engineering leadership, engineering practices, less so about investment in Central Eastern Europe. So there were 4 of us. So Vladi, Sander, myself, and Bogdan, the CTO of Adormi, who the company, it's one of the most, let's say, most agile run companies, Adormi Tech, a most agile run, 200 engineers companies from Romania that recently got acquired by Victoria's Secret for 400 million. So it's one of the biggest acquisitions in the region right now. And Bogdan had a talk, like very good, like everything we're talking about here, very good engineering culture. So small teams wearing many hats, supported by platform teams, very much team topologies, very much very close to the customer, a lot of coaches internally, and very, very, very rapid product velocity and very good feedback cycles.
So what is the number one reason you think why developers, let's stick with developers right now, should go to conferences like this?
That's a good question. I think developers just general would benefit from just talking to people who are in their industry, just to get out of their bubble. I think that's number one. The camaraderie that goes in there, the new insights. That's number one. Number two, I think, depending on what kind of conference you go to, you might be able to sort of have like a reality check with, hey, does anybody else work like I'm working? And how do the most prominent teams work right now, today, in 2024? Especially the teams that are on stage, that are presenting a valid use case, a valid case study that Bogdan did. And I just want to check his name because I'm gonna probably mention it one more time. I might as well. Bogdan Lucasio. They just recently got acquired. Yeah, get out of the bubble. That's for engineers specifically. Get out of the bubble. If you're sort of wider, hey Kalayan, if you're wider in the industry, I would say you also get to meet investors. If you're a startup, this is a great way to pitch your product, to sort of get feedback. And in the case of this conference, I was one of the people who volunteered to mentor. So everybody who was there on the accelerator program, so startups pitching to investors on the conference, and they were selected for investment on the conference. So there was a pitch, an expo area, and there was also a competition area where you could sort of take it one level higher and get the number one company got 350K of investment. I was one of the mentors who volunteered to mentor founders, CTOs, CEOs. So I had the conference organizers basically matched me with companies that aligned with my expertise, and that was amazing, right? So if you're an investor, if you're an engineering leader, or CTO, or CEO, it's something that you can nowadays expect in conferences of this caliber, to be matched up with coaches, mentors. There's a lot of people, or just other CTOs who already had an exit, Bogdan was really big. After the acquisition, he was very happy to share his insights. And there's a lot of us there that have a very sort of coaching and strategic leadership style. So you get to talk to us because, I don't focus as much on product development, on one product. I'm not full-time employed for one company. I work with 10 product companies. And then I sort of get to experience what works well and test new ideas very rapidly in very different environments so that I have real experience with what to advise the next one. To actually check, hey, in what context does this work? A lot of people come to me for TDD, and now I work with, I don't know, hundreds of teams, hundreds of engineers, and I can see, okay, it works in this context, doesn't work with this context. My talk was primarily about that. It's like, why does it work? My findings were that it works very well if the team is pairing. It doesn't work very well if the team is not pairing. If they just want it as education, it's much better as a practice tool if the team can also be inspired to pair, because then it just brings it to a whole nother level. And I had a talk about planning accuracy, right? So you can learn a few new things.
So my experience from conferences. So actually this year I wasn't on a conference so far.
No, you were. You're invited to a private company-held meetup, right?
Yeah, of course, but that was not a public conference.
But that counts. Like that's, you had like a presentation, you talked about it. I would.
I actually needed to create my presentation while we were driving to the conference. I was sitting on the back seat. I have a table there because it's a camper van, and my business partner was driving. And I was sitting there and for 1.5 hours and plugged my laptop into the power supply and was building Actually, I got a little bit of motion sickness, so it's not my thing.
But computers. After I wear glasses, I can't watch my phone in the car anymore. Phone, laptop. It's after I got the glasses.
I could never do that, but I needed to, so I pushed myself through that. That was quite interesting. So why conferences? So especially the last year, my main focus was cloud native and cloud conferences, because this was the part where since 2 years, or actually 3 now, we were basically migrating a lot from let's say legacy technologies like Windows servers in server racks in data centers to cloud native, and had some steps in between. And that was very interesting for me. So I was a lot in the mindset of how and why to become cloud native, in the idea of small to medium-sized companies and CTOs and blah, blah, blah. And I have to say that is very interesting what happens outside of the actual presentations. That was my learning. So I had great contacts on the floor. So the talks you have on the floor in the VIP areas, because I had access to the VIP areas, are the actual interesting parts for me.
Yeah.
So maybe this is because I'm more on this, let's say, level of decision maker, which means that you wanna talk with other decision makers or solution providers or stuff like that, and you want to talk about things, or others ask you how you actually do those things. And when you had a keynote, it is like most people recognize you in one way or the other. That's quite interesting as well. So people start to talk to you, which is quite interesting. You don't know them, but they seem to know you and start to talk about that. That was quite interesting. And awesome. I have to say I would actually just do it because of that. So even if there is no, let's say, presentation on the agenda, which is very interesting for me, because especially in cloud conferences, it's about 10% more efficient cooling systems for, it's a little bit like I don't care. But the people are outside of those conferences. They are all about how to do things right, how to, Kubernetes was a big topic in the last 2 years, how to get the complexity away, but still be able to orchestrate and those kind of things. And you had a lot of great conversations there. Unfortunately, not many developers. on the cloud conferences, and on the developer conferences there are not many people talking about cloud. That's I think they are already very niched on all the conferences. So you should pick the conference by topic already, where you want to go. So that's my learning. I would be interested in a React conference, to be honest. I never was on one.
I was on StripeCon before How to Web. StripeCon was so small that it didn't have a VIP area, so we just mingled. And How to Web was so investor focused that there was nobody in the VIP area. Because usually you would have investors and salespeople and enterprise people in the VIP area, but the conference was focused on them, so they actually made up the main expo ground, and it was actually the developers who were a minority, which was great. Which was great to see, because everybody was basically very approachable. You didn't have to hunt them down, because we had like 3 different VIP areas for speakers. It was mostly there to give people easy access to the bathroom before they have to go on stage. Like that was 90% of the solution space there. Yeah.
Did you have a rehearsal?
No, we didn't have a rehearsal. No, it was really tight. We could test out the clicker. We could get mic'd up and test. I do have a picture of me on stage. I can share that.
I missed my rehearsal. That was a little bit. I didn't know that it was existing.
No, I did ask them. I asked them, give me a timer, give me my current slide, give me my next slide, and give me a working clicker, because we didn't have a laptop on stage, right? So it was like proper speech conference, not technical conference setup. So everything had to be communicated non-verbally through the clicker. Wait, here's me on stage. It was a cool stage. Is it this one? Yeah. Can you see it? That's me on stage.
Yeah.
That was a cool stage.
Like a rock star.
That was a really cool stage. That was a lot of fun, I have to say. So the stage was quite intimidating, but unfortunately I was the last speaker on the last day, so a lot of people already had to fly out. So I only got to meet with the people that we went to dinner with. There were like 40 people in the audience there. I think the conference area was like 200 people. This stage, we had 4 stages. I think they were like on the expo as well. I think there were like thousands of attendees, and then across the 2 days, they funneled into like a conference space. But it was interesting because it was so expo focused for investors that a lot of the investors didn't come to the stages. They just pitched for 2 days, which is interesting. Suit and everything. Yeah, I had my beads and my suit and my blazer. I get really nervous on stage and I sweat a lot. So I usually, it's just when I'm before the stage. When I'm on the stage, the moment I'm on stage, it just clicks. I get in state, no problem. But I get super worked up anticipating going up on stage. Usually I go on stage super sweaty, so I just have something on me to just sort of keep myself focused.
They had on the Cloudfest, they had makeup artists who actually prepared you for to not be glossy on stage.
Yeah, I was a bit glossy. Yeah, but hey. Anyway, I met Juana Mihailescu. She's an agile coach. Used to work for a big bank. Now she's going a little bit more freelance. So, and of course I met Sander and Bogdan. I'm not sure how approachable Bogdan is for an interview, but Juana said that she would like to come on to the stream and talk to us regarding agile coaching practices, product engineering. She's a product coach. So she's a product coach with an agile background. She does not have a technical background, which is interesting. But she has a lot of experience.
Which is good. This is a new learning from my side, that it is very good to mix up your entire technical workflow with a more, let's say, the business-orientated persons.
Yeah.
Helps you a lot. And I see that in many different areas, in fellowships, mentoring, stuff like that, that this is a huge benefit, and many teams can basically get something out of it when they not solely focus on just technical persons.
Yeah.
Even the project managers are often technical persons, and that is not the best idea, to be honest.
I also met this gentleman. I will check his name in a moment. I also met this person. And with him, we had this great conversation. So he is my coaching complement. He is a consultant engineering manager. And the way that I work with tech leaders, CTO startup CTOs or engineering managers, VPEs, he comes in to replace them. Right? So he works on the orthogonal where he might be the interim leader who is then replaced by the person that I coach. And it's super interesting to see this dynamic because he's technical, which I really like, but he doesn't work with the team. He just focuses on translating what the team would be doing to stakeholders, which is also part of what I'm doing in coaching practice, right? I'm teaching somebody how to do that, how to sort of fix the relationship with the stakeholders.
That is at least 50% of the actual work. Because
yes.
When you don't get this fixed, so I call that always the disconnect between business and development. If you don't get that fixed first, you can do whatever you want. There will always be tension. You will always have stress. You will always have unnecessary deadlines, and you will start to make excuses because of this pressure. You need to get this pressure away before you start to improve the overall technical process. And that is another learning as well. And I have the feeling that I'm already talking about that at least several times a day, I would say. I had that yesterday evening. I had a call with a client, a project manager, for 1.5 hours in the evening hours off time. We were talking about exactly those things. And people, especially the business people, oftentimes the project managers, are the people who are actually interested in things like continuous delivery, like testing practices like TDD, and getting this gap away, real agile, stuff like that. And it's very often not the developers who likes to have that.
Agreed.
And
same with even with practices like AI and maybe TDD, BDD, QA. It's usually the non-engineers. If I'm completely honest, it's this. A lot of engineers usually tell me, "Hey, we'd like to have a cleaner code base," but they don't want to be doing TDD because they're resistant to the idea of having to so significantly change their workflow. Same with trunk-based development. Same with continuous delivery.
Resistance to change is the most persistent thing which is going on in us. So especially developers, they are often targeting hey, the requirements in the current ticket are my goal.
Yeah.
And when I'm finished, I go home. It's a little bit there is the entire connection to the mission is missing, and oftentimes it's it is. I was, let's say, 1 year ago, I was always talking about that. I met a lot of CEOs who basically were just giving nothing about, hey, what are actually the developers doing? But I found out that more and more people care about that. And I meet more and more developers who actually don't care about that. And I think we need to think of both areas and target both areas to understand better the benefits of actually working in that way together. And that's a big issue right now. And because every time I join a company where those kind of problems are, or I talk with other decision makers or leaders of project managers, something like that, where those problems occur, it is always you have this whole catalog of problems there, and they are all basically rooting to this basically working culture problem, right? And it is always this, and you can always explain it to that thing. But since we are talking about conferences today a little bit, I'm pretty sure that the modern conferences will target more and more how to actually work efficiently and structure, or it was
I
actually
mean,
my
right now they're
keynote.
targeting talks about AIs. Right now, AI is on every freaking conference that I go
Yeah,
to.
but this is I think this will settle a little bit, so AI will be extremely interesting. But on some point in time, I think you still need to do work. So AI is not really doing your work; it's just a tool right now. And in my opinion, I think it will return to all the topics we have next to AI, which is a lot, to be honest.
Of course.
And this is where people struggle. So AI doesn't really solve problems right now. This is
So
no.
I launched this product. Where is it?
AI do CI. That's an interesting sentence.
Yeah, I do CI. Hey, Angela.
AI CI.
Hello.
Hello, Angela.
So I launched this product.
You launched a product.
Yeah, I launched this sort of. It's a 5-day challenge, and I launched it primarily to give people an opportunity to sort of try something daring, to sort of get past the resistance. And I started communicating planning accuracy.
Eureka planning.
I'm experimenting, okay? It has to be spiced up somehow. I can drop it in the comments, but it's not. It's not a huge priority that you.
What is it? Is it a course? Just for me to understand.
It's a 5-day challenge, so it has pre-recorded videos from me. It's 3 minutes every day. It's an email every day, and what it's supposed to do is that it's supposed to sort of give you a glimpse on, if I was coaching you every day and you're on a weekly sprint, what would I bring your attention to nail your planning accuracy?
That's a good thing. Do you make it with video or text?
It's both. It's for free, but once you buy it, you get 2 hours later, you get your first email, and then you keep getting emails for the next 5 days. You already have access to all the videos, and then each email is addressing day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. With the idea
that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I had this idea to do this. It's an experiment, and I'm using planning accuracy to get engineering leaders, engineering managers to sort of understand, hey, when you promise something to stakeholders, how true to your word are you? And how many days does it take for you to really start deviating from the plan? Because maybe day 1, you're 100%, yeah, everything's okay. And then day 2, day 3, it's like, okay, maybe half by end of week. Maybe half it. Maybe we'll finish everything, a week later. And then I want to put a number on that. And I usually survey every one of my clients that I work with regarding leadership. But like, where are we? Like, are we 5%, 100%, 8 out of 10? Where do you self-assess? Where does it actually, if you create a sprint and you put 20 things in, you maybe touch 20, maybe get 10 into review, and maybe you deploy 4. What do you communicate to stakeholders? 20, 10, or 4? Mm-hmm. What does your team communicate? 20, 10, or 4? And then we use that as a baseline for improvement. Just as a proxy metric of, are you guys swamped with defects? Then maybe testing might help. Are you guys swamped with not knowing what to plan? Maybe pairing would help. Are you guys swamped because...
What you should do is, on one session, you should introduce the first day.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay. And the first day is not interesting. Day 1 is not interesting.
Or just give a general idea of what's actually going on. Right?
Fair. Yeah. Let's put it on the content plan. So, let's make a content plan for the stream. I have Notion open, the SOC. I have the SOC open. Which calendar are we using, by the way, Adrian? The SOC or the calendar?
The Roman calendar. No.
On your Notion, you have your snackable CTO content strategy, and then we have 2 calendars. on the team space from the one that you shared with me? Is it the
I
sock
have so
that
many.
we're using?
Wait a second.
You have so many calendars.
OTJ stream calendar.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the
It's
one.
pretty
Is that...
stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just moved a few things over. So I put Juana. So she's a product coach.
Mhm.
And I would like to sort of get her on stream. She's from Romania, so she's 1 hour ahead. I got sort of verbal buy-in that she would like to come on an episode. I guess we should get introduced if you're interested. I'm having like a product coach on stream.
Mhm.
There's Juana. Then there's Ahmed. So Ahmed reached out to me. I'm very sorry, Ahmed, if you're watching. We were just swamped in everything. So Ahmed reached out to me, and we just couldn't get Adrian basically for an intro.
Me?
And then and we were just so busy, we could never sync up. And then you went on vacation, I went on vacation, then I came back, we had an episode, then I went on a speaking tour. Then you took a little bit of a break. It just became very, very, very difficult to organize anything. So I owe at least an apology and possibly a follow-up regarding the episode with Ahmed Misbah. Ahmed is hosting Tech Cafe, and Ahmed wants to come on the episode. He's a chief software architect at Orange Innovation Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And he got inspired by our talk on how to fix a code base with Maria.
Mm-hmm.
And he would like to propose a follow-up session to continue the refactoring exercise by Maria, but this time using a testing technique he calls pinning tests. Now, I don't know what pinning tests are. Ahmed is a huge TDD enthusiast and evangelist, and I thought it would be interesting. So it will be following on at least the code base or the example by Maria, and using that as an example on stream to highlight what pinning tests are. So we have Ahmed in the pipeline, and for a very, very long time. I do apologize if we just didn't get around to it. So he's been in the pipeline since July 18th. And it's October right now, so my bad.
So regarding refactoring, I just refactored Cloudbar because of a transfer we made.
Yeah.
And I actually took a look in CodeScene. We have now 90 Klog frontend.
Mm-hmm.
And it based on React and Next.js. And I actually, I think in 4 hours straight work, I was basically refactoring all files to a new file system structure. So basically, it was total chaos, and I completely moved it. And I don't know. I think, okay, this is not really the refactoring we're talking about, but without the refactoring functions of IntelliJ, I think I would give myself a shot.
IntelliJ is really strong on
it is extremely good. It was such a smooth experience.
The problem is those things are very difficult to code review. If you're doing pull requests, it's very difficult to code review extractions because you will move and modify.
Exactly, it's duplication actually.
And it's duplicated, and it looks like you got deleted something and then you created something completely new, and then you lose context of, okay, I moved and modified. Can I just see the change without the movement? And on GitHub, if you're using GitHub for reviews, it doesn't have a very good diff tool, which makes it extremely difficult to review that. I usually do the in-place modification first, and then I extract it.
Don't review in that way, so I don't have a problem.
Yeah, so if you don't review that way, if you do it continuously or you pair, that's great. But if you have a non-pairing team that does code reviews like that, extractions are extremely costly to them, because whenever you extract a function, it modifies the entire function as changed, and your diff tool will essentially, it will misguide the reviewer into re-reviewing something that didn't change, and it's just a huge waste of time. Whereas with pairing, if you were pairing, you would know not that you don't have to review the thing that got extracted by a very reliable tool. And it's very difficult to communicate. I practice with a lot of open source communities that make contributions to Bitburner, and they hate it. Like, I refactor a lot, but it's a very messy code base. I extract something, nobody wants to review it, because it looks like it was changed, and I didn't change it, I just moved it. And it's test covered, but it's still that
is more important than actually the reviewing part. So if you have inconvenience in reviewing, that is not as bad as not refactoring at all. So you should refactor before reviewing. So, and then if you have problems or with the progress, or Git doesn't support you in that way, then get together and just talk about the changes, because in the end no one is really reading everything. So when you change, I don't know, 200 files or more, right? So no one is really going through that and rereading that again. That's nonsense. So it is more like you need to be sure what you do. I just have someone, I was talking with my colleagues about that time, and we were just watching over it, and everyone was saying, hey, have you thought about this? Is this still working? And stuff like that. And it basically was a no problem refactoring. And I think that is the way how it should go, to make it a team effort, but make sure that a single person can execute in a mature way. And this is the way I prefer to do those things. And tests were running, so no problem. Build was running, lint was running, all good. So when you are well prepared, then you can do those things.
Yeah. Another person we have in the pipeline is Kim van Wilgen. That's Sander Hoegendoorn's girlfriend. When I reached out to her for an intro, we had an intro scheduled, but she got sick.
Yeah, I remember.
And then you got sick, and then I got sick, and then you went on vacation, and then I went on vacation. Basically, we just ghosted each other. And so that's another person I owe an apology to. But it came from a recommendation, so I don't really have a plan for Kim. It's just Sander who said it will be interesting to have Kim on as well regarding leadership, engineering leadership. So I'm curious whether you would want to prioritize that or not, or like how you want to approach that.
Me?
Yeah, like, do you want to reach out to her? Should I try to reaching out again? Should we talk to Sander? Should we get both of them on?
He said last time, I asked him when he was online, he said we should get his girlfriend first solo, just because I don't know what his, but he said we should just do that solo, and then maybe another one together with 4 people. Well, I would say you reach out, because you already had contact, so it does make more sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
I don't need to explain who I actually am.
Okay, so
I am not a celebrity. People don't know me in that way.
So I don't know how that's gonna play out, considering now that we ghosted each other for a few months without communication. So I will put that as like medium priority on the content board, and let's not plan that for like this cycle for the next few weeks. I'm setting an intention to reach out to her to check for interests. Because last time I checked, she had a very busy schedule, and it was very difficult to sync up with our stream time.
The people who are watching on YouTube and LinkedIn right now, do you actually prefer having guests, or is the mix of having sometimes guests and sometimes a deep topic just we both? What do you think about that? Let us know.
Please. And then we have content. So I was thinking to code less on stream. So if Ahmed would be coding, that would feel like if you plan the next 8 weeks, let's say. Right, so today is October 9th. 8 weeks would be 16, 23, 30, 6, 13, 20, 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and November 4th. I will be gone November 13th. I'll be in Budapest for November 13th, and I won't be able to stream. I'm attending a concert. Like, I bought concert tickets to one of Asia's favorite bands, and we're going there together. So that's gonna be November 13th. I'm definitely not gonna be streaming November 13th. So I can suggest that either as a break or as a solo stream for you.
I would prefer to not solo stream, to be honest.
Okay, then November 13th we can scratch. We can put a break for November 13th.
Yes, because I think that our tech journey, I thought about that, is actually our both child, let's say. And we should treat it like that. I think that you and me, we both have our own things anyway. And we should keep OTJ, our tech journey, as something we're doing together, so that the people understand this as that. So don't mix those things, right?
The thing is, I do like to solo stream, and when I solo stream, I stream on this channel.
That's okay.
That's okay.
I don't have a problem with that.
That contradicts what you just said. Now, I really like what you said, but I immediately noticed that what I was doing, even though I agree with it, what I was doing does not honor that commitment.
Yeah, because people sometimes don't understand that. So I had that several times that people were asking me, okay, what is Snackable CTO? What is OTJ? What is my company webbar? What is this all about? Because I learned for myself in creating Substack, my blog and stuff like that I started with way too many things. So I have several tracks, several ideas, and I think when I remember, I think the first 10, 12, or even 20, I don't know, sessions we made together. So that was a run, right? And people learned us. It was about exactly. It was about. Yeah. Exactly. And when I do my stuff alone, it's totally different than when we're doing things together. And it feels different for me to stream alone or creating videos. Sometimes I want to stream just to create video material and be more interactive, while when we are together, we are more in a discussion, talking deep about things, sometimes ranting about things, sometimes arguing about things. And this is the charm of our tech journey for me. So I would even say, let's announce what we do. Don't do those spontaneous things, because people simply don't see that on LinkedIn. It is a little bit invisible right now. So thank you for the people who are there right now, that we are not alone.
Angela, Kaloyan.
But we definitely need to announce in advance and talk about things like AI tools, talk about our main topics, talk to people, and even suggest that the community is picking people who we should talk to, and make this discussion thing, which is community driven, where, let's say, there is how can I put it? There are people behind that. It's not a solo show like a podcast. Podcasts for me are solo things. So people are talking, sometimes there are two, sometimes one. But what we are actually doing is more like getting deep into a topic while talking to the audience. That is what OTJ really is. This is the reason why we picked StreamYard, even though StreamYard is not a very professional streaming platform, but is one of the best to get the people together. And that is what we should
put comments like Anjana's here, but Anjana said she wants guests in deep topics. It allows us to interact with the community, right? So even if we create value, but you guys watching it live, because you get to vent, you get to ask questions, you get to sort of just check what's going on, and then say, hey, in my team, this isn't the case. Like, it wouldn't work in my team because X, Y, and Z. And then we can put that on screen and talk about it. And maybe you can leave the idea with with new thoughts, with new mindsets, because we can address your case directly. And that's one of the unique things. And we even had Gary, for example. Maria had some internet issues at some point, one of our guests. And we offered the spot for a guest to hot join, and Gary came in. Gary was a CTO, and we had an amazing episode with Gary, like unplanned, impromptu, unscripted, and just live. The audience was asking questions.
And this is what I mean. This is what is all about when we talk about OTJ. It is the community-driven thing, which we have missed a little bit in the last 2 months, because you already mentioned there was a lot of sickness. There were the summer. I don't know how it's actually called in English, but we call it the summer hole in German. It is basically the time when basically no one is there. Everyone is gone on vacation. It's vacation time. And then you have this. We had this. Yeah, everyone was sick as well between the holidays, and there was simply too much to do. So I wasn't really on vacation in that time, and I think now is coming the time where everything settles again, and we should have this once a week. And if we aren't both there, then I would say then there is nothing like that. So this is the reason why we should be event driven, so that the people know in advance, at least 2 weeks in advance, that something happened. Because I noticed that LinkedIn isn't really helping us anymore when we announce 1, 2, or 3 days before the event, because the amount of people you reach is actually not very large. That changed. So when we take a look at the first streams, it was fairly easy with half of the followership to get twice or 3 times as many people on the show, and these days it's a little bit more difficult. So we should make it or have it in advance, like interesting people, interesting topics, and just keep it as ongoing as possible. So I think that if we do it right, we have at least 45 sessions per year.
Yeah, I mean, if I interviewed Dave Farley on LinkedIn with Growth CTO with COVID. Just before I went on the tour 3 weeks ago. And I think we had 45 people peak live. And it took a lot of effort, to advertise it, to get people, to get reach. Even though
but you had a celebrity on the show,
we had a celebrity on the show, but my point is that it wasn't thousands, right? Even though we had a celebrity on the show, Dave has like 750,000 subscribers on YouTube. 400,000, 700,000. Like, how many does he have?
Yeah, but interestingly, Nick Shumeko, we had 200 something.
Yes.
On the show.
No, 400 almost. Yeah.
400 exactly. Dave, even he was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
Something happened there. Yeah.
Yeah. Dave has 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, and it didn't translate over to LinkedIn, to his LinkedIn audience. And I don't think he's gonna make any clips. And we had some sound issues.
Have you streamed to YouTube as well?
No, it was a closed webinar with the intent that you have to leave it was more businessy, that you had to leave your email, that you were expressed whether you wanna receive updates, whether you want to receive contacts from other industry leaders, whether you want to receive mentoring. So it was almost organized like a small conference. It's like, hey, are you an industry leader? Yes. Do you want to network with other industry leaders? Do you have any questions for Dave? Would you like to receive mentoring? Do you want to demo this tool? It was more organized like that. It felt a little bit more formal, which created a cool setting, because it was primarily CTOs and director levels. So we really nailed the vertical. But the reach was difficult. Dave has 200,000 YouTube subscribers, and it didn't translate over to our LinkedIn webinar.
LinkedIn is a very close thing. It is very close. Yeah. And
whereas Nick Shumeko, for example, we had, I think, 400 people total unique, 210 peak live, I think. And when I asked where everybody was from, I think we had attendees from 70 different countries.
I think it was a bug when I saw the counter, to be honest.
Yeah, the counter just went up. Like, chat was just, it was one of our most fun episodes. But Nick has a very active LinkedIn following, and that really made it special. Yeah. And that also inspired us to invest a little bit more time into these kinds of events.
LinkedIn has changed a lot in the last weeks. I really mean a lot.
Short video, vertical video, images are now much more prominent to get reach.
It is extremely hard right now to reach out or get out of your own boundaries. And you really need to do, actually people say it really, it's like the big testing phase of videos. You need to make videos and you need to interact with other video makers in order to get out of your boundaries again. And you see that with most people who were very successful with what they have done already.
It's getting a TikTok treatment.
Yeah, and if you just don't do the video stuff right now, you actually will face a little bit less engagement in general. At least in the areas below 20k followers, as far as I
I mean, that's the cheap engagement right now. The cheapest engagement right now is just do video and you'll stand up.
But not non-niche videos. That's important. So as soon as a video is posted and it's a niched video, the algorithm isn't really pushing it out like that, because the videos when you see when you open the app, everyone should have that as far as I know right now.
Yeah, I think it went mainstream live. Everybody has the tab for vertical videos.
When I open this right now, everyone you see there is basically not doing niched content. So what I mean is, you see a lot of people, how do you make videos? How do you make interviews for jobs, but not specific for development? And everyone who's actually doing, like, we are coming from the development space, those things still stay niche. So and I've made one video which was more about culture in general, and it definitely went up. It is 4 times as strong as everyone. So just as a tip for everyone who wants to start something like this, make sure you have a short video, maximum of 90 seconds. At best, you stay below a minute, because you can reuse it actually on YouTube and TikTok. And make it easy, make it 3x structure, make it interesting to hear from beginning to end, at least a half per first half, and make it professional, which means that have a good camera, have good sound, have the how's it called, captions, and make sure you do it consistently, because the first video won't be the greatest thing you have, and then you have actually quite a good chance. And what's very interesting, and I don't know exactly why that is, I literally get feedback in a private message every day right now. I don't know exactly why. I have the idea that it is the current hype because of videos is a little bit like many people think about, hey, maybe I should do videos as well. And take a look in their follower, or basically the people who they follow, and ask them, hey, you're doing videos like every day. It's great. I would just want to give you feedback in order to get into touch with people who are actually doing that. That's what I think, because literally every day. So that every day people coming to me telling me about that, right? And Kaloyan is there today. He's actually even taken a look if my fonts on my videos changes, if I use different fonts. He is really analyzing.
Oh my god! I had a presentation on StripeCon on the previous conference here in Ljubljana, and somebody told me that, hey, Dennis, the font you used for the headline, the kerning was off, and the kerning was off on every slide. Like the T, like the T was using the wrong kerning table, and I was like, "Really? You noticed?" And I'm like,
yeah, people. There are a lot of people. Okay. There are not a lot of people out there who notice those things, because we have a high standard in the last years. It wasn't like that years before, but it is like that. And there are some things which annoys me, like, for example, in Descript, they are simply not capable of letting you define the line height, which is so annoying. And I
wanted to fit. Yeah.
I'm working with templates. I try to optimize things because I actually don't have much time, but I want to do the content myself, because I'm very niche down, which means that it must be very specific, and I can't let this do someone else, really, right now at least. And if you try to do everything in Descript, which is a great tool, but it's not very great for having nice text and text effects in it. So you tend to use other tools, but then basically the complexity grows, which I don't like, because that spans the time.
It takes multiple steps.
Yeah, and so keep it simple. And many of the successful videos aren't actually very effect driven. They are most likely just a good camera. Make sure you record in 4K if possible, because you have extreme loss on LinkedIn when you upload videos. Extreme loss, especially when you are moving. The videos are literally blurry. That is such a bad codec they use. When you have the video, you have it on your computer, you watch it, it is crisp and sharp, and you upload it, and it looks like, I don't know, you just have the
they optimize
worst
it, of
YouTube quality stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so have it as high up as possible. And there are good tips, like when you use your phone, like that one, don't use that camera, use that camera instead, right? The front camera. And the reason is, look at that camera. That is an array of 4 cameras, and you have a tiny little thing. And it is a way better quality. You can have mirrors, like attaching a mirror, then you can actually see yourself if you need that. And then record, and have a microphone as well. I think people told me, this is the feedback, because I made several surveys actually, and people really tell me that the most important thing is a good sound quality. So have good input sound. Use something like Studio Sound in Descript to actually improve it and get away from background noise. And this is what actually helps you. And you can use your videos for short podcasts as well. Mm-hmm. That's another aspect. So today I have something like 60 to 70 podcast downloads a day already with my videos. I wasn't noticing it because I wasn't following the stats. I don't do anything. On Snackable CTO, yeah. This is basically just a side effect of using Substack, but it's actually growing every week, and people are watching me.
And Substack now has a live feature as well, so we should probably look into that.
Not yet. It is not yet there for us, small, tiny, funny content creators. It is only there for the large ones. As soon as you can open the Substack app, because it is not working like we are used. It's only working with when you have a button here down there in the shop. What is it? There you should have a third button, which is called Go Live. Yeah. And that's actually it. So you can do with another Substack person, do that simultaneously with your phone. That's the idea about that.
Oh, okay. But I want to do it on my computer with a studio, with a camera, with a microphone.
I think it's not working. It is made for whatever reason. But maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe it's meant to be used for Instagram. But even
that was in the first, in the very first announcement email, which I even applied for that feature. You could apply, like a smaller creator to apply for that feature. I never got a response. I'm sad.
I don't see anything in my settings. So
I was actually planning to go live every day. I called it short live. It's a little bit like a 30 minutes thought drop, and then.
Yeah, but 30 minutes is quite intense. Like 30 minutes every day, consistently.
Yeah, because I'm recording every day anyway, and I wanted to have my recording actually online, and with the 4K recordings on StreamYard, it's actually possible to do that. But I really have to say my GoPro camera is so much better than the streaming camera I use right now. It is very I don't like the picture I see right now. It is so glossy, which is
the color is different. Yeah,
that's not that nice.
Your white balance is off. Like your wall in the background is getting a lot of highlights.
Yeah, that's not so nice, and it's way better with the other camera. But those those are my little challenges. But to be honest, they are quite fun. I love those. This is a little bit geeky, and I like it to improve there. So I have 4 GoPros right now. One is broken actually, and I was experimenting with those, having 2 at the same time and stuff like that. But I like that camera simply because you have it everywhere. And what I have when I do videos, and I want to do 3 or 4 videos in a row, I want to record them in one go. I want to have my phone with me so that I can actually read on my phone, have some notes, because I forget topics. I simply forget them, and then I can write. I don't need I don't need a prompter or something like that. I just speak freely, but I need those, those ideas to have them ready for me. And this is the reason why I don't want to record with my phone like many others are doing.
Sure. I wanna stay on topic and sort of go through our content plan, so we can wrap up in like 20 minutes max. Do you want to have? We have in the next 2 weeks. We also have Halloween. Do you want to have a Halloween episode for anything?
Like horrible stories of software.
I don't know, like anything Halloween themed or horror stories.
Shall we get some costumes? Like, I don't know.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I want to dress like a micromanager on that day. No, let's do it. It's a good idea. So some horror stories. Yeah.
Okay, so
Then
October
I will
30th.
come up with a topic. That's actually something I like to.
Okay, so Halloween horror stories on October 30th. You'll manage that?
Yes.
Okay, Agent picks that. This topic. Awesome. Okay, so that's done. I would like to vaguely etch in when we would have guests on. So maybe we could do. So we don't stream on the 13th. So the 20th would be a great slot for a guest. So either Ahmed or Kim or Juana.
You decide. Because you know them best and you know what's actually a good topic.
Yeah, but we need to get intros with them anyway. So I would like to set up intros this week, next week, have intros with them, and then check if any of the guests would like October 20th. No, November 20th. Because that's after like a 2 week. We can announce it 2 weeks in advance, and that makes everything easier. And we could have another guest episode if we do manage to get the intros through November 6th. So we could have a guest, break, and then another guest. I'm thinking. And if we don't, we can fill in the blanks. Actually, no, that's a terrible idea. Let's just skip that second guest. Because I don't think we'll be able to reach out that quickly. Let's do something else. Okay. What about content-wise? When we're both here, shake beard, no glasses. No, we're not doing Movember. What's in your mind to talk about regarding? We touched on engineering. Oh, so okay. So I would like to have, when I have footage from the conference, I would like to do a how to web episode. And that should probably be as late as possible. Yeah, November 6th. I will do November 6th. It's a how to web episode. Alternatively, it can be another guest slot. Okay. So I'm taking November 6th. And I will talk about this conference that I just went to.
So our tech journey shouldn't be too much about artificial topics. I think we should talk about things which actually happens around us or in our lives.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I probably would talk about some experiences I have with launching my first SaaS product, actually.
Can we do that next week? Is that too short notice?
We can.
What would you prefer? I don't want to put pressure on you because it seems like you're invested into this topic. I want to make sure you can announce it, prepare for it.
Good question, to be honest. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah?
I don't need to prepare too much for that. It's more like,
okay. No, I mean thumbnail announcing it.
That's not a problem. I always say I can do this 3 weeks before, and then I actually do that on the same day.
2 days.
during the countdown, uploading the thumbnail. Then I'm fast. When I have enough pressure, I'm extremely fast, right?
Okay.
Once the resistance is broken, I'm fast. Yeah.
Okay, so next week we do. What would you title that?
Good question. Let me find a title. Something about launching SaaS for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be transition from traditional business to SaaS. Maybe something like that.
From agency to SaaS?
We are not really an agency, but
what's a traditional business?
I don't know, probably agency, but I don't like it.
So
like I try to get around this stuff.
From software shop to SaaS.
No, then do agency. That makes more sense.
Nice.
Because agency is so tainted with the offshoring agency, which we are not.
But you're not staff augmenting. You're actually an agent, a service provider.
A service provider is actually a good topic, but service provider doing SaaS as well, so it's not really helping with the topic. So yeah, from yeah, that's good. Let me do something about that.
Okay.
That's good.
On the 23rd, I would like to follow up on your suggestion. I would like to talk about that planning accuracy, like that exercise that I do with engineering leaders to help them with planning accuracy. So I would title that use planning accuracy to build continuous delivery hype in your team. I use it basically as a proxy to say, hey, do we need continuous delivery? People say no, and then I say, okay, what's your planning accuracy? Oh, maybe we actually need it. So it's this sort of breaking through the resistance. It's a fun game. I figured out how to gamify getting people excited about trunk-based development, which is great. So I will prepare that. Okay. Anjana, so Adrian, Anjana just said also topics can include like communication norms, especially like managing up. You have a podcast tomorrow on how to give feedback.
Mm-hmm. No, actually, all around feedback. It will be a little bit like it is feedback focused. Why feedback is important, how to ask for feedback, how to provide feedback, why it's important, and how to accelerate that, and why it's actually one of the core essential things of continuous delivery and leadership.
So Anjana, if you can make it, that's I think that's an hour earlier than our normal stream time. I think 3 p.m. No, European.
I link it. Wait a second.
So Adrian has a talk about this tomorrow. If you don't want to be too repetitive,
it's probably an interview. It's not really a talk, I think.
Interview, okay. It's a typical scripted podcast. Okay, link is in chat, Anjana. If you wanna, Anjana, I can see that you're on YouTube. So the link is in. Sorry, the link is in LinkedIn. Could you drop it in YouTube in here as well, please? I can do it. Oh no, I can't. I can't select the text without showing it on screen.
On YouTube, done.
Thank you, Anjana. It's this link. Adrian being interviewed, perfect, tomorrow regarding how to give feedback, how to receive feedback. If that rubs the itch enough, I think we can leave it there. And if there's more interest, we can maybe do a follow-up on that episode on this channel at a later date. So we have planning today, from software agency to SaaS next week. Then we have planning accuracy the 23rd. Then we have Halloween horror stories 30th. Then I'll have an episode from the conference, hopefully with some footage and clips. That'll also touch a little bit on engineering practices and what it was like mentoring engineering leaders, because there's a lot of patterns. Startups just received funding, like going from MVP to like scaling up production. I saw a lot of patterns happen and a lot of questions that could derail companies.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of insight in there. Then we have a break on the 13th, and hopefully a guest on November 20th. One of the 3 guests that I mentioned today, or whoever else shows up. 27th.
So, let's try something very special this time. Let's try to announce those things in the next 3 days or 4 days until Sunday. Every time in the evening hours. Not as the main post, because those posts are not very effective. But no. The idea is more about that. Let's take a look what happens when we really announce those very early on.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think very often what I see is even if I send someone a link on LinkedIn who is green on LinkedIn, 3 hours later I get or sometimes the next day I get I wasn't seeing that. Yeah, so what I noticed is LinkedIn is very much focused on the moment. Mm-hmm. And when you send something in that moment, it is gone in the next one. So we need to try to get the people's attention, I think, long term.
And there's a huge percentage of viewership from people who didn't RSVP. They they can announce the event, they can RSVP, they can attend, put it on their calendar, And there's still a huge percentage of people who just make it because they saw the notification, not because they RSVP'd.
Yeah, so you should have both, but
of course, both. Yes.
But I saw a huge difference when we have invited 300 people 2 weeks before. I saw a difference than announcing it on the same day and try to get the results, because then you are basically narrowed down to the people who are online.
But that's not a fair test, because we would need to test it announcing it and not doing anything, and announcing it and inviting it in the same time period in the same activity window, and that's very hard.
We have some data already, actually. So it's, I don't know, the 50th streams or something like that, or more.
I think so.
Probably.
I think more. No, more. I think we streamed 60 episodes. More.
Yeah.
We need to check when the 100th episode is, and we need to define a metric for when that happens. That would be nice.
Sounds good. So let's wrap up, I would say.
Yeah, let's do one more. One more.
Yeah,
November 27th. So we have the entirety of November planned. So that's gonna be a break, and then a guest, possibly Wana or Ahmed, and then next week. And that's the last of November. What would you like to?
Oh, good question. That's actually far in the future.
That's less than 2 months from now, so that's going to be here very quickly.
I would say mentoring stories.
Mentoring stories, okay.
Yeah.
Any specific?
Anonymized,
focus?
of course.
Anonymized. Okay, so case studies. Okay, so coaching and mentoring case studies. So it's basically this that's in our background right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So that's would be okay, 2 months from now. Cool. Okay.
Fine.
Okay.
I'm tired.
Actually, I can see that pattern now. So we have Halloween horror stories, and then on the last one,
I don't see it actually. Have you saved it somewhere? Because
it's
in
on
the
content
calendar, I
board.
only see Halloween horror stories. I don't see the other entries.
Refresh. I did all of them.
No. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have everything until November. And then on November the 4th, we can make another planning session to figure out how we navigate November and Christmas holidays. Huh? How's that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
It's good, yeah.
Anjana has to go. We have to go as well. Calvin, if you're still here. I saw Thomas in chat earlier. Hello, Thomas. Sorry if we missed you.
I just saw that someone was posting. Typo was posting. Your.
Oh, the interview with Dave Farley?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Yeah,
Is that
so
StreamYard as well? It looks so different.
it is StreamYard, yes, but it was the new StreamYard. It was the first day after the new launch of StreamYard, and we went to the big package and we tried to record as much as possible. And played around with the settings to make it look a little bit more unique. But again, the audio, we had some audio issues again. So, and I think it's Descript edited with studio sound, so the studio sound is a bit inconsistent across all three of us. So that's
actually that's the reason why there are local recordings. If you have something like that, where you have a high quality guest, let's say that's not fair, a celebrity, right? Because oftentimes smaller guests, let's say, have a lot of value, sometimes even more than others. But what I want to say is you should have the local recordings because they are higher quality, and you can actually do that very well in post-production to get those things together again. The only problem is the comments. So if you are very comment driven, it is not that great. But if you don't have that comment driven, it is actually better to record with high quality tools like For example, how's it
Because
called
the
again?
comments hide part of your face, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
hard to. But yeah.
Riverside, for example, those high quality podcasts don't use StreamYard. The reason for that is StreamYard is very much like this is this all-in-one platform package for starters, right?
Yeah.
Who
No.
don't
The master record happens on the
Yeah.
live stream rather than the individual master records. Like that. That's
Exact-
the problem.
And
right?
there
So
are better
it's
streaming tools which are more complicated, which actually
Also-
assembles that and then pushes it out. So you have way
Yes,
better
also,
quality with buffers.
One
and
of
stuff
the
like
problems. One
Yeah.
of the problems with StreamYard is that the codec that is being used is optimized for streaming, not for video quality. Right? So it is optimized for being able to assemble the picture really quickly and deliver it with low latency, rather than giving you a streamlined quality across the entire screen. You'll see this a lot with Twitch. Has the same problem. Twitch, if you're streaming a game and you're running the game in 4K, it'll be blurry on stream if there's a lot of movement, because the codec for the stream is optimized for low latency and bandwidth, not for video quality. Video quality is still very high if there's little movement, but the codec will make that, it'll immediately introduce artifacts as soon as you start moving something on your screen, and then basically you get 4K with blur, which looks worse than if you were streaming on a lower bitrate.
And last thing, there is a new DORA. There is now a European DORA. Have you heard of that?
No, I have.
The financial industry in Europe have decided to call the new act of compliance something DORA. So great.
There's a new acronym: Digital Operational Resilience Act.
Yeah,
no. Why?
I got a request from one of the clients that we need to actually adopt to that. And I thought to myself, what do they have with DORA now?
It's a different DORA. No.
And I thought to myself, okay, DORA sounds like fun. And then
EU regulation that entered into force on 16th of January 2023. Well, this was 2 years ago. Oh, and it will apply January 17th, 2025. IT security of financial entities such as banks, insurance companies, and investment firms.
It's actually a quite complicated thing, to be honest. And it is
incident management, risk management, operational resilience, and testing.
It actually pushes out a lot of smaller companies, agencies, who just took some, let's say, open source software, something like that, assembled that for finance institutes to do some content thing. They are basically they cannot keep up with that anymore. It is extremely hard to be compliant in those cases.
Yeah, it's a lot of regulatory bureaucracy necessary to sort of streamline and the processes. So just more paperwork, more employees.
But I never want to talk at stream about that because this is such an annoying topic. I don't like it.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a content plan. Let's announce soon. Awesome. Cool episode. And it's good to be back.
Good.
So there's going to be some updates. I also, for those of you who have met me in person from Romania, I do have to follow up with you, a lot of you guys. So expect DMs in your inboxes very soon. So
next week from agency to SaaS.
Yes.
Need to prepare then. Goodbye. See you then.
Goodbye. Awesome. Ciao.